Hi everyone, welcome back to KaiCityRC. My name is Eric, and today we're going to be building a Kyosho Turbo Scorpion. We are going to show you each step that I'm going to take. Sit back and enjoy the video, and let me know what you guys think. time for the big reveal. There it is. What do you guys think? It didn't go box art, obviously. I'll explain a little bit more what I did in a few minutes. And we'll talk about this beautiful Turbo Scorpion. I really enjoyed the build. I hope you enjoyed watching the videos. I mean, it was basically just a step-by-step. I didn't actually do the build with you guys this time. First of all, it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. I did some gold accents on the lights. You guys can see the gold. And I did paint the driver's helmet gold also. This obviously is supposed to be white normally with all the blue and the stripes, but I wanted to do something different. You know me, I'm not really a box art kind of guy. On the Madcap I made a box art, but I think that might be the only one I've done box art. Nope, the Subaru BRZ, that's box art also. Anyway, so what do you guys think of the color scheme? Basically black, white, gold, and silver. The red is like little accents of red all over the place, so I don't mind the red shocks. Obviously Kyosho has some gold shocks, but I'm not going to use those. I actually like the red ones. I like how they feel. It's really good, actually. It feels really good. And it just brings you back to the days of those classic like Baja buggies. And you know, I think that was obviously what their goal was. This is not something that's going to be a high-performing car. It's definitely heavier than most RC cars I have. It actually might be the heaviest one I have. Even I feel like the Optima isn't even this heavy. And actually I don't think it is. I'm not going to get a scale out and weigh it, but I don't think it's this heavy. This feels bulky, it feels heavy. And I have a lipo in here, but it's very light. You know, the lipos are light, especially this one's the lightest one I have. And even without the lipo in it, it's heavy. So just a few details. So yes, you see black, I did the gold. They do have a light kit for these, which I think would be a lot of fun to put lights in this. So I might have to look into that. They also even give you little like, you know, retainers for the wires. So you can run the wires along everything and it keeps it nice and neat. Kyosho really pays attention to the details. And I really like that. And that's the reason why I wanted to kind of make this a little bit different and a little more detailed. Box art's great. It's a beautiful looking, you know, the Turbo Scorpion stock is beautiful, but I just want to do something different. I also removed the sticker off of the my 19 turn Reedy Radon, which is what I'm using. And I know the lighting's not great, but I've actually put a Turbo Scorpion label on it on the back. I think that adds a nice little detail also. The timing, I did mark where the timing is. Speaking of timing, this thing kind of requires a little more like oomph and power to kind of get up and moving because of the weight. But once it does, I mean, this thing is actually really fun to drive. So I have it set for a little more torque and a little less top end, but that just makes it, I think personally, I think it makes it more fun to drive because you have a little more acceleration and power off the start. And this thing, you know, I don't think it would roll on me, but it is kind of, you know, top end, kind of heavy. They did widen the track. It is pretty wide. I mean, this is wider than the Scorpion, and it's wider than the Beetle. It's wider than, I think, the Tomahawk. I think this is definitely the widest of those Legendary Series cars. So that's one of the reasons why it's the Turbo Scorpion. So it is wider. So it does handle well. And you can see it's got a little bit of camber, which is good, just naturally. So the fact that it needs a little more power, that's the reason why I put a 19 turn in. I do have the higher speed gears in here. It comes with an optional, what is it, 31, I think they have a 28 and a 31 tooth pinion. So I have the 31 in there, and I forgot what the gear ratio is, but it's actually quite good for this buggy, especially if you have a motor with a little more torque to it and a LiPo battery. So I would recommend LiPo, I would recommend the higher speed gears, and I would recommend at least a 19 turn motor. I could put I was thinking about putting a brushless system in, a censored brushless system like I did the Optima, but I don't think this thing needs it. I think it's great the way it is. Definitely recommend gluing these tires. Actually, I don't recommend it. You have to do it because these are very soft compound tires. These are great tires. I would rather have these than the spike tires, because spike tires will just wear out in this car because of the weight and, you know, rear wheel drive and just spins. As far as, you know, my review on it, I loved building it. I absolutely love building it. I love the rail system on here. I love all the metal bits and pieces. You do have to use thread lock. Do not build this without thread lock, metal on metal, especially if you don't think you're going to be removing any parts anytime soon. I would definitely use thread lock. There are some things that I'm not super happy with, like the way the rear axles lock into these pieces here. I don't know if these are going to stay like this. I think you'd have to use some sort of thread locker or something here. I feel like these would pop out over time, and all the vibration of the car bouncing around. This bar is just being held in by two like grub screws. I don't love that. Also, as far as the design, the antenna, so the antenna is right back here. The antenna goes through this hole, but it's so close to this bar that when you go to take the body on and off, the antenna is in the way, so you have to constantly bend the antenna tube back and forth to get the body on and off. So I don't like that. I feel like they could have, you know, shifted it a little bit or put it even on the outside. Even if they put it over here, it would have been better. So, I mean, maybe the original one's like that. I don't know. I never had an original Turbo Scorpion from the 80s, but they do a great job with the Legendary series upgrading these. You know, the shocks are better. Some of the metal parts are better quality. The gearbox and the gears are better. Just overall, it's just a really high quality car. You know what? Don't tell Tamia this, but I had a Blockhead Motors Wild one that I actually got rid of because I feel like these are kind of in the same category, and I would rather have this one. So I'm keeping this one. The Blockhead Motors Wild one is gone. You know, I can only keep so many RC cars before the wife throws me out of the house. So the other thing that I want to talk about is the size of this. I don't know if you can see this. Maybe you can't. But the Ultima, it's the same wheelbase, but the Ultima is just smaller and lighter. It seems like this is like a larger scale, or this is a smaller scale. So you can see the difference of the wheels and tires, obviously, but just the size of the sheer size of the body. There's a good view right there. You can see the size of the body. It just seems so much larger. And the Ultima is very lightweight. I know this did come later on. I believe the Turbo Scorpion was maybe 83 or 84, and this was 87. So they definitely, obviously changed what they did. There's obviously not a bathtub chassis. It's very lightweight aluminum. You can definitely see why this was more of a race car. This was more of a model that you drive. And I'm not sure if you guys watch KaiCityRC, but if you don't, definitely check out his channel. He does a whole comparison of even just the Legendary series. I mean, this is a vintage one, but he does a comparison of all the different Legendary series and talks really in detail about them. He really likes his Kyoshos. He's not a box art guy either, which I do like. So I'm going to end the video here, and I really appreciate you guys watching and subscribing. And if you haven't, please consider subscribing. Okay, thanks everyone. I'll see you on the next video.